advised him that Nigeria will be good as soon as the Yorubas and the Igbos come together. Because every other minority tribe in southern part of Nigeria is looking forward to Igbos and Yorubas coming together. As soon as they come together, every other part of the south will come together. Every other minority, voiceless minority, or whose voice have been suppressed in other sections of Nigeria, will start now embracing one Nigeria. The Yorubas, their arm's length relationship has caused a lot of damage to Nigeria. It has allowed even the minority part of Nigeria to take charge and continue to oppress the majority. So, my dear brother, we wish you well, but all we are saying is we are still saying the same thing. The Igbo to continue to be part of Nigeria is very, very negotiable. It is negotiable because we cannot be slaves in our own country. It can never happen. And when anybody thinks, if anybody thinks, of course, you know, as a professional you are, you understand it more than I do. As a professional you are, you will know that 1967 to 1970 is not the same with 2018 going forward. It's not even the same with 2000 going forward. We are keeping quiet, our people. We are all over the world, as you know. We have all it takes, but we don't want to cause the same mayhem like others. But it doesn't mean that when push come to push, that something different will not happen. We are not going to die like chicken, like our forefathers, our brothers, our sisters, and our uncles who were slaughtered. Worse than what you can do to an animal. We are not going to accept it. We will use our relationship and the skills we have acquired in different parts of the world to bring Nigeria to dust. We will reduce Nigeria to dust. But we are not going to do that. We are still giving room for a progressive, united Nigeria. And that's why even when our people are being killed, we accept it as part of the sacrifice we will continue to make. But all we are saying is that that sacrifice will not remain forever. The earlier we come together, if we want one Nigeria, but what we are not going to negotiate is total restructuring of Nigeria. It's not negotiable. It's either Nigeria is totally restructured, where our father stands, or no Nigeria. We will now decide total separation. Until that, I'm going to allow my leaders to say one or two words, to say something as well. But I want to tell you that we still see, after the genocide, because it's not a civil war, after the genocide, our properties in Yoruba land were still intact. You gave us back our properties. Fajui gave a supreme sacrifice when he was, when Ironsi was captured. He said, instead of killing, I have to die with him. That is the same supreme sacrifice that Jesus Christ made. Now, if the spirit of Ironsi and the Fajui, the Yoruba and the Igbos want those spirits to die in vain, they are crying wherever they are because of the level of acrimony and hatred that exists between the two brothers that are supposed to be one. Eh? Some people who answer Omoyele or Kayode or whatever, some of them are Igbos that left Igbo land centuries ago. Because Igbo people, when they go out, they don't go back. Just like here, expecting them to relocate to Nigeria is like waiting for a cow to go through the needle or a horse to go through the needle. We don't go back wherever we go. We know that we are in every part of Nigeria. Some people are already answering Bongani here, answering the local name. We don't go back. Some of you, if you trace your originality 300 years back, you will discover that some of you are Igbos. That's why we continue to treat every other person as brothers. And they will continue to do that, but at a time, we are not going to allow our nation to go extinct. And we are not going to run away from our homeland and leave it for anybody to occupy. So we want to advise that the earlier some of you push that the right thing be done in Nigeria, the better for us if we still want one Nigeria. Otherwise, we will now not leave it to some of our youths or some of our people who are crying for this justice. All of us will throw our weight, and if we throw our weight, it is not going to take 1 year. Nigeria will come down to stand still. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. Igbo, thank you for your presentation. Very articulate and straight to the point. We appreciate it. His Excellency, you got the message. We will appreciate if you take notes of all the reactions so that you can address them once off.
Yes.
Because all the leaders of various structures of our people, they will want to bring up their concerns. Please, I will suggest that anybody that wants to address or make any presentation, be mindful of time. In fact, we will allocate 2 minutes to each of the speakers. We will want to call on the former president of Ohaneze and Igbo, South Africa, Dr. Daniel Akwari, please to address His Excellency. An applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellency in the making, let me stand on existing protocol. First, I have to acknowledge the fact when I first saw you here, you reminded me of my professor in school, Professor Seyo. His hairstyle then. We will come to the class and tell her that in Lagos they call this one Fuji garbage. I don't know whether it's still answering the same name. No. They would have changed the name. Because
this one is called Showtime.
It's called Showtime. Okay. That's that for Professor Leah. Now, Fuji garbage and Showtime. Generation gap issue. You can see. Okay. Some days ago, His Excellency in the making, you were in a meeting with other young aspirants, meeting with area daddy. Is that
area father?
Area father. Hashtag our Mumudon too. I wouldn't want to go into what was discussed in that very meeting, but if you have the luxury of time, you can take us back into what exactly transpired in that very meeting. My question is just going to be very simple. Almost Onowu has epitomized most of the areas we want to ask questions, but for the fact that I've been asked to do this, and I heard you very well. If you take into cognizance not only the demography of Nigeria, how do you intend to take the democratic dividends into this very country, like I say, having at the background the demography of the country, vis-a-vis with the present political quagmire? Because whoever said that Nigeria is not in a crossroad, we must be joking. We're almost heading to what I may call political hierarchy. Yeah. But like I said, what are your intentions? How do you intend to take us away from this lockdown? Because there's no country that will develop or civilize when lives and properties are being threatened. It chases away investors. We want to know how you intend to handle this. If I don't get a satisfactory answer, I will leave here and start reminding my people that for a very long time there has been Rankadede, Nassau Rock, and KBC has also had their own share. That it's now time for us to begin to say one day Keite, Nassau Rock, if I didn't get a satisfactory answer. Thank you very much.
Round of applause. His Excellency, I hope you're taking notes.
Yes.
Okay. We call on the chairman of Council of State, South Africa, Igbo's Council of State, Chief Sylvester Chukwu, to please address His Excellency.
His Excellency, I just have a little thing to say. I want to ask you one question. We have seen the both brigades, which is the generals. They refuse to go. They keep on circulating themselves from Obasanjo to Buhari, Buhari to Babangida, Babangida to Abacha, Abacha to Moro. We're on the crossroad. I said the whole rats. They had a meeting that this pussycat have been disturbing us here. So we are going to buy a bear to put on the pussycat's waist so that when the pussycat is coming, they will know. The question was, one rat got up and said, who will bear the cat? Because the problem we are having now, honestly, I look at you as a very young man and have a very good intention. Like you said, you were born in 1971. I witnessed the Biafran Nigerian Civil War. I saw what people, the same thing that was happening in Rwanda then, that people, when you look at it in the television, you say, hi. So this thing was happening to people. I was a victim of that. So what I am saying now, how do we get this power out of these people? Because these people are just capable. They keep on rotating this power from this person to this person. What are you going to do about it? That is the question of that small rat who will bear the cat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We wish to call on the President of Enugu State, South Africa, Apostle Michael Ugu, to address His Excellency.
Once again, I salute you. It is our prayer. Enugu has always stood on the path of progress for the entire citizens of Nigeria. I'm surprised you visited a lot of places. I don't know if you flew across Enugu, because if you were in Omoyele and Onitsha, you would have stopped in Enugu airport before going to those places. We have a very big concern in Nigeria, but I must say that this forum would not give you enough time and us enough time to answer all these questions. I was thinking that maybe there will be a second missionary journey, because if we have your manifesto, it will reduce all this up and down, asking this or that. You've spoken well already. Those of us who are ministers of the gospel, we like to look at some younger ones like you, looking at the France president now and a lot of other young men. We think they will not be like Nigerian politicians, because they say a lot but do very little. You might give us a very well-packaged answers to all these questions. At the end of the day, we'll be neither here nor there. So I am not trying to ask a question. I'm trying to say it is God who appoints a leader. As a minister of the gospel, I am on the prayer side. Like when I stood up, I said, we wish you all the best. Somebody could be bad today, then tomorrow he's the best person. There is always a change, a turnaround along the line. And it is only God that provides that. I would like to maybe communicate later when we have seen a comprehensive like manifesto. We'll be able to ask, because time, I'm sure, will not permit you. So my prayer is that God will lead the way. You might be the David of our time. Size does not do anything when it comes. Age also. Methuselah and Solomon, we could see that age has nothing to do. So he is going to use you and use you very well. But my prayer is that God will lead your way and direct your path, so that you will lead according to his own divine plans for the entire Nigerians. And Ono, who said something very important, it hasn't been very rosy, the betrayers that we have always heard from our Yoruba brothers. It hasn't been very, very rosy. But we're looking at somebody who has spent so much time outside Nigeria. We're looking at a new era. God bless you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Apostle. So there are a lot of us that want to speak. Please be patient with us because what we are presenting to you are the concerns of our people. It's not only our people in South Africa. You know very well that most of us we have our influence at home, and we know, we hear what is going on, and we believe that you will get there. So please be patient with us. We need to call on everyone that has his view to present it to you. At this juncture, we wish to call on Honorable Chima Onyagwa Umala, the President of Abia State. Please make your presentation, sir.
Standing still on the existing protocol, ladies and gentlemen, I remain Honorable Chima Chigozie Onyagwa. The issue, first of all, I must commend you because you are not a newcomer in the field. I've been following you even through the Abiola debacle. So I think and I believe that you are not a newcomer in the field. You have participated in Nigerian political situation, and you can comfortably describe in a short period what Nigeria has been going through. Having said that, I would also want to remind you that the issue of tribalism has played a very major role in Nigerian political structure, and it has affected a lot of our people. What we are currently seeing in Nigeria today, the Northerners are ruling now. Everybody, all the major positions have been taken over by the Northerners. When it was South-South, it was about South-South. Now it is like the Southeasterners are clamoring for leadership. But to be honest with you, in the equation of things, Nigeria, each particular zone has been ascribed for a particular thing. The Southeasterners, I believe, are much more interested in infrastructural development and the economical structures that they can be able to exercise their God-given talents. Leadership is not something you wake up and just grab. It's a divine calling, and I believe that you are prepared enough to lead your people. The leadership and the position of presidency of Nigeria is not anybody's birthright. If you look at each and every one of us, I think we have, almost all of us, we have the capacity to lead from our family, business, and the community. And we have done marvelously well in that area. So, Excellency, I would want once again to commend you because I've followed you for many years now. Your participation and our know has really touched on one area that was very glaring in terms of journalistic approach on things happening in Nigeria. It's like you are silent. I know during the issue of June 12th, you participated fully. In fact, you are standing next to Abiola himself. It means that you are involved 100%, and some of them and subsequent ones. But during the massacre of Igbos in the core north, it was silent. Even the one that happened at Omoyele, it was the report was silent. I'm beginning to ask, is it your going into politics, Nigerian politics, that has made you to relax your investigative journalism? Because I believe that you have enough experience, enough information on Nigerian issue, and I trust that you're going to do marvelously well. I spoke to some of your supporters and colleagues in New Jersey, and what they told me, mostly Igbos, what they told me, I told them I know this man, that he will deliver if he has the opportunity, if he's given the opportunity, that whatever we're going to do to make sure we deliver him, we will do. But promise us that it's not going to be another tribalistic run around. It's not going to be winner take all this time around, that it should be all about Nigeria as a nation. so that we can be able to come back home and develop Nigeria. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chima. Ladies and gentlemen, just to remind us that there's a function tomorrow, a town hall meeting, where His Excellency will attend to most of the questions. But I think the direction is that we will ask all the questions here, and he will answer as much as he can. Then anyone that is left, because our projection is that by 5 p.m. we have rounded up this session. Ladies and gentlemen, I will wish to call on the Chair Lady of Nigerian Women Association South Africa, Chief Mrs. Ife Ezonu, to address His Excellency.
His Excellency, you are welcome. Sir, I'm very happy to be here today. Nigeria for once when she was baby, and she's crying to go back to Nigeria. Now when she saw all those killing in my video, she asked me, Mommy, please don't take me to Nigeria. So if something is not done, honestly, we are losing it all. So I am raising the issue of this crisis to bring peace in our country. I'm a regular traveler. I know from what I heard from my kids, even in their school, they have been abused concerning their country.
Yes.
I've been there to attend parents' meeting where my son is fighting. They are cursing them with their country. So Nigeria have become a thing of mockery. So if you can promise us to make a change, we will be proud to be that giant of Africa that we are claiming. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Please, can we call on the immediate past Secretary General of Imo State, South Africa, and the publisher of online publisher of SA Nigerians, Mazi Okwadike John Onachukwu. Please make your presentation.
You're welcome, Mr. Sowore, and it gladdens my heart to see that somebody of your caliber, somebody from my generation, can stand up and vie for the most coveted position in Nigeria. And oftentimes I don't attend this kind of gatherings. It's the same old. Like when you see all these old people who have been allotting the affairs of Nigeria from world immemorial, they will tell you everything you need to hear, but nothing changes. And the reason why I came here, first of all, is that most Nigerians know who you are, and will be following you. And good thing, you said you had a kind of tour around the country to understand the people that you're vying to lead. And in your statement, you made some comments, which all of us know is a reality. There is a general loss of sense of citizenship amongst many people, most especially amongst people from my region, the Southeast. And we are not just feigning that we are hurting. It's there. And most of us see, well, without belaboring everybody with to you, And those things are going to be determinants of whether people like me will vote for you or campaign for you. Because you said two things here, and most of us, you mentioned two things. My interest here is the generational shift in paradigm. And secondly, the change in the way of doing things. So I have two questions for you. The question is, since you've understood that there's this general sense of loss of citizenship, which is well-founded, what do you intend to do differently? So that everybody, some of us that are dug in our holes, refusing to accept Nigeria as it is, will come out and proudly embrace you and say, we are Nigerians, we work for Nigeria, we are proud of this country. That is one. Secondly, the issue of, Ono also mentioned it, though he spoke in parables, but it's something all of us know. The issue of restructuring Nigeria. Very, very important. You understand? It's a very, very important, and also another determinant whether some of us will vote for you. Because our vote is ours. If we feel you do not stand for what we aspire for, we will not vote you. We will not only vote you, we'll campaign vigorously to topple what you stand for. Because some of us want a restructured Nigeria for many reasons. You're talking about changing the status quo. I don't know what you understand, what that means. Or let me put it the way you put it. Benching the, if I may say, benching the old guys, you understand? Like removing them from the scene. So that they do, because they are the problem with Nigeria, all of us understand. On the personal level, I don't really have a problem with anybody. Yoruba, Hausa, Ijo, what, all of us suffer almost the same thing. Our problem is those you rightly described from the war generation. So you say you're going to bench them, like get them out. So now, we want to understand. I will also want to point out to what the Enugu State Chairman said. What is your manifesto like? What is your position on restructuring Nigeria? So that we do not waste our vote. We want a restructured Nigeria. It's the position of our ethnic nationalities leadership, Ohaneze and Igbo. And we've also seen comments from Afenifere, from the Middle Belt organizations, and everybody wants Nigeria restructured in the way it is being run now to something that is more close to, you know, if I may say, returning back to the status quo ante, the way it was before they changed everything. You understand? So one regional participation in government. We don't want the Abuja, what do you call it? Some people call it the decentralized what. It's not helping. You understand? It doesn't help. So if you become, you're already an aspirant. If you get, I don't know the party, which is another question I wanted to ask, on what platform you run it, whether you're an independent or what, I don't know if the Constitution permits that, but you're already an aspirant. If you're out there, the issue of restructuring, which we have been clamoring for, because, I mean, the people running Nigeria have us on a jugular. They need to remove their hands so that we can breathe. We want a restructured Nigeria. Is it your position? If it's not your position, or if we can't know what your position is on that, it will be difficult for us to make decisions. Thank you very much, and you're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Akwadike, thank you so much. From the Doctors Forum, we have Dr. Raymond Okafor. Doctor, please. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Your Excellency, the making, I greet you. Igbo kwenu? Kwenu? Kwezonu? Firstly, I am happy you're a diaspora product. You probably understand what I mean by that. I'm not just a doctor. I've been very political. Far back 2003, I was involved politically back home before I even left the country. Yeah. When I say I'm very political, I know what I'm telling you. You went through Lagos, I was in Great Ife. I know a lot of people that you might know, Student Union and all that. Even in your platform, ANN. But maybe later we'll start talking. I am not strictly for, a tribalistic, pursuit. You understand what I'm trying to say? The way I grew up, like I was in a federal government college, we had people from all parts of the country. We all grew up together. Some of my closest friends are Yorubas. And having said that, it's a tall dream you have. Really a very tall dream. But firstly, if you don't get there, you need to be the CEO of Nigeria for you to be able to turn things around. Even if you are a minister, you know what I'm trying to say? You'll hardly be able to do much in terms of what we are requesting, what we are inquiring from you. Okay. So the first thing is, how do you get there? Somebody had asked a similar question. Elections are not free and fair. Okay? There's a lot of vote buying taking place. A lot of money being thrown around, So how do you want to counter that? Now, the other thing is diaspora voting. It might not happen now, but these are some of the things we would have fought for, because it will also support your getting there. That's why I said a product of diaspora. By that, I am happy with you, because I know that you would know what we would want in Nigeria. To me, all you need to give Nigeria is infrastructure. Okay, I'm widely traveled too, recently in Russia and all that. Even Russia is so developed everywhere, unlike what we're thinking. You understand? If you give us infrastructure, that's the first thing. I don't want to beat about the bush. Obasanjo, let me not talk about individuals. To me, he's the best so far in terms of delivering. You might have your own opinion, but I can count 1, 2, 3 things he did. Salaries, teachers, doctors, and others, people who were working. Again, remember in our ministries, you have an Hausa man with a diploma, he's the PAMSEC. Other people with PhD are like just directors or deputy directors. He changed a lot of that. Look at the military. He retired all the political, military officers, and tried to change things. It was within his time that you could get a minority man head the Navy or head the Army and all that. Now, the point I'm trying to make, okay, is I am happy that you know what we require. But one thing he didn't do, he didn't give us infrastructure. You were in Aba, I grew up in Aba. Aba is horrible, no roads. You understand? So if you are going to give us what we need, I don't know how you're going to get there. Like I said, it's a very tall dream. Diaspora voting, if that is possible, most of us will think, along your line and then give you the support, because we know what Nigerians are not so much after, pittance, give me this, give me that. Give us a favorable environment and we'll be able to deliver. So I think mine is, realistically, you need to also strongly think how you're going to get there. And the only way you can achieve is when you are at the helm. Okay? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we can appreciate the fact that a lot has been loaded on His Excellency. It would be ideal if we should allow His Excellency to address some of those concerns before we proceed further. Please, His Excellency, could you please address the concerns of our people?
Thank you. Once again, people, I thank you very much for your great questions, your great comments, and in some ways, what I call the interrogation of intentions. It's very important that we do this. One thing I would advise is that no matter what happens after here, let us use this as a template for dealing with our would-be leaders.
Exactly.
And this has to do with those who want to be governors of your states, president of your country, senators, House of Rep members, and whomever would lead you wherever you might be. one thing I love about our involvement in this is that we are starting to change politics in a way that it don't used to be done. If it was before, somebody would walk in here with $10,000, 2 Hennessy's, you clap for him, he walks away, nobody asks questions, everybody's happy. But the country continues to underdevelop itself. I really appreciate what you have had to say today. We need to tell ourselves the truth about Nigeria. And I have said it, I'm not whipping up sentiments. Nigeria is not working for anybody as it is today. It doesn't matter whether you are Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, but it is working for some people. And some of them at the center have no ethnicity when it comes to how Nigeria works for them. They bond together, they eat, they distribute, redistribute, destroy, decimate, they disappear. And this leads us to the question you asked about journalism and what I do. You see, I have done journalism for 12 years. And those who have been most probed by my journalism are people that I know deals with Nigeria without ethnicity. That's why I'm never afraid when somebody says, oh, your journalism is ethnic related. This is a blackmail that happens to every journalist. It depends on which side of the sun you're writing from. But let me tell you a few things about what I've done about the Southeast. I was the first person, or our platform was the first platform to interview Nnamdi Kanu when he was starting and he had come from California. That video you saw, we interviewed him after that and asked him very solid questions. I gave him advice, even personally. I said, look, you are going into a territory that I did when I was a student union leader. Be prepared, because you're about to take power from people who have been used to taking power for free. When they started the Biafran movement, the video that's been filed now at the ICC, which was the killing in Aba of those protesters in that high school, it came from SAHARA reporters. I don't need you to clap for me because I was doing my job. But most importantly, there was a video where the army asked those kids to be rolling inside gutter. It came from us too. Wow. So I've never been silent. But you know, there are so many participants in the business of media these days, you can't even tell what is original and what is real. So, and we have to be careful. We cannot afford to put out content that is not real for propaganda's sake. And I will tell you, recently, I was one of the voices, I was asking questions about where Kanu was detained, because I heard his father himself is being detained by the DSS. And I said it on live stream. Yes. Femi Fani-Kayode was also saying it. But with due respect, if you are in trouble, be careful who you are friends with. Because there's a lot of opportunism also in Nigerian politics. And that is what leads me to the issue of restructuring. You see, restructuring is a fantastic thing. But be careful who wants to restructure for you. And when you talk about restructuring, how do you restructure Nigeria with a Buhari in power? Let's assume that Buhari agrees today to restructure Nigeria. Will he restructure it in the interest of the Indigbos? So, the first step towards restructuring is takeover of power from people who hate all of us. Let me say this. Don't clap too fast. The Nigerian constitution, is a fraud. And until we have an opportunity to sit down around and put together a constitution for ourselves, we are deceiving ourselves with whatever comes out of the minimalist attempts to restructure Nigeria. The third thing I will say to you is this: let's be very careful with even the Afeniferes and the leaders who are there, the old people. The reason why I'm very, very different is that I have experience, and the brother of mine has said it, who was at Ife. Yes. You see, what some of you are experiencing now in terms of betrayal, we saw it when we were in their 20s in 1993. The people that betrayed Abiola did not come from the Southeast, although they started it with the Southeasterners, but the people that finally delivered Abiola to Golgotha were Yoruba traditional rulers. Yes. Please don't let us be deceiving ourselves here. The Oni of Ife went and said he saw a video at Aso Rock that shows that Abiola did not win an election. So when you now see those old people now telling you that they want to restructure Nigeria, I am totally sensible to be careful with them, because I knew them since I was 21 years old. Some of you are just hearing from them a few months ago. When you see a Femi Fani-Kayode who says he's in love with you, don't also forget he's the one who said he was sleeping with Bianca only.
Yeah.
So be very careful with who you jump in bed with simply because you are angry. Otherwise, you find yourself in a state of circumlocution. You know, they will put you in the revolving door of deceit. Where you entered, you come back and find yourself there again. It is all planned. Tomorrow, if they give Femi Fani-Kayode a position in the new federal government that he wants, led by the PDP, he will take it. And he will tell you that he doesn't know you before. Because that's what he does for a living. And I'm not mentioning names because of the sake of mentioning, but that's what I do for a living. I'm in the business of telling people what they don't like to hear. That's why some people like me and some people don't like me. But everybody don't have to like me. I have to like myself first and foremost. What am I bringing to Nigeria? It's a very, very honest desire to change the place in such a way that you can have a country to go to, you can have a home to go to. One of the things I learned, by the way, about the Igbo is that no matter how fantastic your home is, you don't like to stay there. But you like to build it in case you have to stay there. Yes. That's what I found out traveling around. I found some of the most beautiful mansions in Igbo land, but there were no roads connecting them. Because most people are not thinking about infrastructure, like Doctor said. Look at how we came here. We drove all the way here with, you know, Google Map. Nice houses, nice roads, nice streets. The Southeast could have been like this, based on the number of economically advanced people that are living there. But you have to get past the Bundungu, known as the first Niger Bridge, the one in Onitsha there, that has never been developed since it was created. Was it me that did it? No. The people who are shouting restructuring now, do you think they were not supposed to have done the second and third Niger Bridge? Did they do it? No. Some of the people who are shouting restructuring now were ministers of finance in Nigeria. They refuse to finance development going to the east. So if they are telling you they want to restructure in the country, they are giving you what they call buzzwords, with due respect, so that you can fall into their traps again. And the moment you do, they will leave you where you are. So I just want to plead with you that I'm not here to deceive you, because I have pedigree. I may not have been perfect, because nobody is perfect. I may not have written every story you wanted me to write, because nobody, as a journalist, who can cover every story. And some of you, or some people who have had issues with me because of Jonathan. But I said something to them: Father, forgive them, they don't know where I come from. I'm actually Ijo Apoy in Ondo State. If anybody wants to be close to Jonathan, it should have been me, because we are from the same kind of ethnic group. But I'm also speaking a Yoruba-speaking Ijo. I speak Yoruba. But my real blood, and these lines you see, they come from Ijo land. But I couldn't stand the idea that Jonathan, who was my brother, you know, theoretically speaking, could not lift Nigeria out of the woods with infrastructure when he was selling oil at $104 per barrel. And the best he could do was to be destroying Nigeria. I fought for Jonathan before. When Yaradua and their cabal refused to let Jonathan become president, who did it? SAHARA reporters. I was reporting on, I was the one who called Oronto Douglas, late now, to tell Jonathan to start preparing to be president of Nigeria. He said, how did I find out? I said, Yaradua is brain dead. They said it's a lie, because as vice president, they didn't even let him know what was going on, which is part of the structure of Nigeria. That they can deceive you to be vice president and you never see any fire passing through to the presidency. It's the same thing they are doing with Oshibajo now. You know, it's the same lie they are telling in Igbo land, saying that, oh, if we can vote for Buhari for another 4 years, it will be the turn of the Igbo. If Buhari trusts Igbo, why did he allow Igbo to be president now? And then it can be the turn of his children in 4 years. I mean, this is just the national deceit that has been constructed. But the thing is this: all these old people that are in power today, each time they occupy one space, as we say, matter in integrated science, they have weights and they occupy space. If you remove them today, 1 million youths will sprout in the country. They are the ones that are holding our progress to ransom. A Babangida, for example, is holding the destiny of 1 million people. right there in Mina. Obasanjo is holding the destiny of 1 million people right there in Abeokuta. Until you take them out of the equation, then you see how Nigeria will rise. It doesn't have to be me. It just needs to be someone who is bold enough. And that's where you mentioned about belling the cats.
Yes.
Yes. What about we don't see ourselves as cats? And I'll give you an example. There's a park here in South Africa known as the Kruger Park, right? And you watch a video about buffaloes who have been troubled by lions all the time. Every time the lion will look for the weakest among them, take them away. But at this Kruger Park in South Africa, the buffalo sat one day. This was filmed live. You know, and they ran away for a while, but something told them that for how long shall we be running for these few lions when we are in thousands? And they came back. And now, the buffaloes at Kruger Park have become very, very popular for dealing with lions. They changed their destiny by bravery, by taking the risk. So we should not be considering ourselves as cats. I mean, rats. That diminishes us. We are now the buffaloes of the Kruger Park. And there are just a few lions who have been stealing our children from us in Nigeria and stealing our future. Let's make a turn around and face all of them and see what will happen to them. That is where I come in. You see, you don't have to be convinced about me, but you must not live in here without a decision as to where you want Nigeria to go to. If we are not careful, we are, by our own intentions, voting for Buhari again for another 4 years. And if that's what you want to see, you can stop listening to me. Because without a concerted effort, even if it is something that we have to risk, let's risk it. But we cannot afford to risk is the continuation of this current order. When I was coming from, I came from Owerri, that's why I didn't stop in Enugu, and I'm going back there, sir. When I was coming from Owerri to Onitsha, there was this huge traffic. And as usual, they said, if there's traffic in Onitsha, when you get to the place of the traffic, you never find the reason. That's what one guy told us. But when we got there, we saw this crater. It's not more than this table that is costing about an hour of traffic. And the only thing that could come to my mind is that instead of sending Operation Python dance, why about we send the army, corps of engineers to fix this road and see if the Igbo man will like you? Because there's nobody who you go and shoot and you expect him to love you. So what we can resolve, what is the discontent anywhere in Nigeria with, is a form of justice to everybody who is confronting justice. When you listen to the Igbo man, the biggest complaint they have is that they don't have rules upon which to apply. And what they are saying to you is that they are frustrated with a country that cannot allow infrastructure to go through. Imagine if the highway from Pretoria to this place was from Asaba to Port Harcourt. Probably you will love Nigeria better. Maybe you start thinking about feeling inclusive in Nigeria. And the question about regional government, I don't have a problem with restructuring, and I will say this very, very clearly once again. I don't have any problem with it. I've been to countries and lived in countries that are properly restructured as federal entities. The US is one of them. And my village in the US where I live has a police department, not even the state. And then the state has a police department, and the county has its own police department. So I've been through very well restructured countries. But restructuring by itself is not enough to solve Nigeria's problem. It has to be the restructuring of persons. It has to be the restructuring of power. It has to be the restructuring of intention. It has to be the restructuring of the people who are in charge of the system. And that is what a new generation of leaders and those who have exposure can do to it. I don't know what was the last time any one of you in South Africa ever asked what system of government they run. Probably you don't care about it. Because the system accommodates you enough to make you move from one place to the other, to make you find medicine when you want to buy it and it's not fake, to make you be able to send your children to a school that teaches them, that doesn't give them ignorance. Exactly, free medical treatment. So the moment you feel all of those things, the last question you are asking is which form of government are we running? And we are people who are asking for restructuring are asking that Nigeria be repaired. That is the meaning of restructuring in the real sense of it. that it should be repaired in a way that the country is able to deliver justice and governance to its people. The moment you get it, your restructuring is done. The moment you don't get it, it doesn't matter how they restructure it. If you still don't have roads and a blueprint or a restructured Nigeria in theory doesn't put food on your table, is a wasted restructuring. Because if we are not careful, you will be dancing around their style of deceit. Again, I am declaring in front of you, I'm totally and completely in support of restructuring of Nigeria. But I am also saying that the restructuring must be done for the people for which the country and the future should be restructured. And I am one of them. And I have never been invited to a meeting where restructuring is discussed. It's always been a meeting of old people in their 80s. Yes, most of the restructuring meetings I've seen is people who are working with walking stick. They want to restructure Nigeria. And I'm just calling for inclusiveness in the conversation about restructuring. That it must include all of us, including the diaspora. Right? So, that is the way I want the restructuring to be done. It has nothing to do with not supporting restructuring. I completely support it. In fact, just so that you know, and for the question about where can you find a manifesto, we have a manifesto on Sowore2019.org. It spells out what we call Spicer Heat, which is that we'll have security, power, electricity. My Lord, you need that stuff. If you don't have it, every restructuring is in darkness. Infrastructure, anti-corruption, economy. Our R in our Spicer Heat is restructuring. And we explain how we want Nigeria to be restructured, which we won't have time to discuss here. And health, education, agriculture, and tourism. Lastly, and most importantly, because I may not have time to answer all of your questions specifically, I want you guys to feel free to come tomorrow and even repeat so many of these questions or comments that you have. Lastly is that there is a component that is missing from the Nigerian narrative today. It is your investment in the country. Because as bad as Nigeria is today, there's none of us who can sleep well without knowing what is happening at home. As I've often said, we are the social security department of Nigeria. Anytime there's a problem at home, we are the ones who have to send money. Wedding, sickness, burial, education for kids. Sometimes we are even constructing roads, boreholes, we are building schools for Nigeria. And that answers your question about diaspora voting. Before God and man is one of the first things I will do when I win the presidency of Nigeria next year is to make it compulsory for diaspora, not only to vote at federal elections, but even local government elections on the diaspora. We must include the diaspora. They must be able to determine how their 50 billion naira is spent every year. There's no nation in the world that is giving Nigeria 50 billion in foreign aid, except us, the nation of Nigerians called diaspora. So you must be included. Finally, I know I said finally, but I want to particularly address the issue of injustice in Nigeria that is making people boil in the Southeast. You're entitled to do whatever you want to do to Nigeria. It's your right. But here is what I must also remind all of us. There is a particular problem of oppression in our country. And one of the things I don't want to do is to use language to alienate other oppressed people. My travel across Nigeria shows to me that just as there are oppressed Igbos, there are oppressed Yorubas, oppressed Hausa. The discontent in Nigeria right now is not in the Southeast, it's in the Middle Belt. If you know what people are boiling around the plateau, Benue area, it will make your own even look a little, it will make you look nice. The speech you deliver today, go and hear people in Benue discussing. You will be the ones pacifying them, say, cool down. Because they have to bear the brunt of this government directly. Because what they did in Southeast is official. They went to send soldiers there, they were shooting people. In the Middle Belt, it's non-state actors who are collaborating. You could tell that, what they are doing there, there's an agenda. But it's not carried out by soldiers. It's carried out by soldiers who watch why it is carried out. So everywhere you turn in Nigeria is this very inhuman, oppressive level. It is the reason why the next Nigeria president should not be elected on the basis of ethnicity, religion, but on the basis of humanity. We need to elect a human being to lead us. Yes. On that note, Honorable, I take your permission to take my seat. Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, His Excellency. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Well, unfortunately, we started very early as we were supposed to. And we can understand that time is not really on our side. And we received very reliable information that His Excellency has got another important, very important engagement this evening still. Because we have on our list about 12 persons that still want to address His Excellency. We will advise, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a town hall session tomorrow where you can come and you have enough time not only to ask your questions, but your questions will be answered personally. We will not at this point allow further questions so that we can relieve His Excellency for his further engagement. We wish to state that all the state leaders present, Honorable Chima Oyabo, Chief Sylvester Chukwu, Apostle Mike Ugu. We also want Chief John Chukwu. We want also Chief Obi Chukwu Ayeji. Kindly stay behind after this session. And there are still refreshment. After this session, we are going to take out our visitors. We see them off. But before they leave, we are going to have a photo session in the front of the traditional Prime Minister's house before you can take your leave. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, we wish to call on the Deputy President of Ohaneze, Igbo, South Africa, Chief Chuks Chilaka, for his vote of thanks. Ladies and round of applause.
On behalf of the President General of Ohaneze and Igbo, the Igbo community in South Africa, I say thank you for coming, Mr. Sowore. I thank the state leaders, the Igbo, the Tekiba team, the Doctors Forum. Every one of you have done wonderfully well. We know very well that this is a movement to salvage Nigeria, a movement of moving Nigeria to a greater tomorrow. I love Mr. Sowore's courage, very altruistic. We appreciate him very much. We know very well that it is not easy, but it's easy to be surmounted. It's doable. For being together, working together with the collective consciousness, as I'm saying now. The youths are out. We have seen the zeal in you. We have seen the commitment in you. You are in our generation, and we believe that what we are seeing in Nigeria of today is not supposed to be. The giant of Africa is by metal. Somebody will go for us. Who do we send? I think with the collective consciousness and psychic energy, we will dream through our generation. We want to send you so that you can go and stand for the voice of the youth. But we know very well that we have a problem in Nigeria, a brick wall of the cabal, PDP, APC. How do we move? How do we break this jinx of changing Nigeria? How do we stand firm of changing Nigeria? The cabal, they decide. I ran for a House of Assembly 2014. They said I should go and queue up. I'm a PDP. I should go and queue up. That you can't just fly from South Africa to come and take position. What will us be doing? after taking my money, they say go and queue up. The same queue up is what I'm queuing because of the criminal tendencies among them, the PDP, the APC. But we have no choice than to join them so that we can be able to make a difference through any office they have given to us. But at this time, we know very well that when God says go, He will provide the resources because this requires pocket potency. It's not easy, it's not by memo. He's flying to Cape Town, he's flying to USA, he's on his personal one. All we need to do is stakeholders under the aegis of Ohaneze, we must be able to have a tete-a-tete. How do we come in to be able to support our brother? But I just want to use this medium to say thank you very much for the time you have given to us. On behalf of my president, we are welcoming you and we are wishing you well, that the road will be able to guide you people to your destination peacefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you. His Excellency, just the last one, our prayer session. We started with prayers, and definitely we will conclude with prayers. Please, Honorable Fidelis, for the President-elect of the State, South Africa. You're part of the people that went behind. The Vice President-elect of Abia State, South Africa, Honorable Tony Ewulo, we know you. You're part of the people that went behind. Ladies and gentlemen, we call on Apostle